And a good spiritual morning to you. Once again, I'm Father Cosmas coming to you from my prayer corner at home to share a cup of coffee this morning and a chat with you. And of course, what's on everyone's minds, I think, is the fact that our stay-at-home order here in Illinois got extended through May, which of course we were hoping that it would end May 1st. And now we're like, someone that's in prison and was told, well, you're getting out the end of April. Oh, well, now you just have another 30 days on your sentence. So what's another 30 days in solitary confinement? And we're struggling with that. And I think the main response that I've been hearing from people that I've been communicating with, and my response too, is one of just frustration. Of course, we're frustrated with that. And that frustration sort of tumbles very quickly into just anger. I think a lot of people are upset, just flat out angry right now that this is what's happening. And so I thought we would take just a couple minutes today to talk about anger, because it is something that we deal with as part of our regular day-to-day frustrations. Back in the good old days when I could hear confessions face-to-face with people in the church, invariably almost everyone confessed that they were angry. Husbands mad at their wives, wives mad at their husbands, parents mad at their kids, angry with their children, with their misbehavior. Children, of course, always angry with their parents. Family members, people that we work with, we tend to get angry on a regular basis. And I don't think anyone wants to be angry. Hopefully you're not one of those people that wants to be an angry person. If you do, you should be lying down on a therapy couch somewhere. We don't want to be like that. We want to be nice, well-adjusted, peaceful, normal people. We don't like being angry or frustrated, I hope. And so when we think about that, we think about some of the ways that the spiritual tradition of the church talks about countering, that difficulty, that temptation of anger. And the main way that we do that is through practicing the virtue of meekness. Now, meekness is not something that we hear about too much. And if you do hear it, it usually in our society nowadays has kind of a bad connotation to it. Someone that's meek is kind of a doormat and that just gets walked all over and taken advantage of. And we don't want that for ourselves or for our kids. We're teaching our kids to be strong, independent, self-sufficient, self-confident, not realizing that very, very quickly all of that kind of rolls right into obnoxious, arrogant, prideful, angry comes from those sort of ways of thinking. But someone that is avoiding the sin of anger, that you find is not angry, you notice that they're meek, that they're humble, in other words. That being slow to anger means that they're sort of calm, even-tempered, and that's a person that usually doesn't fly off the handle and especially doesn't lose their words too often. In other words, they don't waste words. And I think that's one of the main things I would say is something practically to think about. As you are now angry and having to deal with this anger and this frustration of being stuck at home for another 30 days, to make sure that we're not going to take it out on our loved ones that we are being sequestered with, so to speak. That we don't have husbands and wives sort of just shooting back and forth at each other. Meekness and humility, first and foremost, means you don't waste words. You don't answer back. Someone says something to you that's hurtful or difficult or challenging, makes you want to get upset, your blood starts to boil, and your immediate reaction is shoot right back at them, say something right back. And it's very important not to do that. So I would say the first thing, and maybe the most important thing, as we are stuck together with people, is to really try to appreciate that these are people that we love and that we're all in a situation of temptation. And so we have to watch how we interact with each other and what we say. If one of the people that we're around or communicating with takes a shot at us, don't answer back, don't shoot back. Remember, in the back of your head, try to be meek, try to be under control, try to be humble. And also to remember one of the main temptations that we have as we waste our words is that we tend to do it with a smile sometimes, and we think, well, that makes it okay. That's not an attack. And we sort of do it under the guise of it being humor or satire, we use sarcasm. And sarcasm is really a difficult form of attack. And we have to be very careful not to sort of do that, not to find us attacking our loved ones in sort of this passive-aggressive way, where we're smiling and we're half joking, but we're saying just horrible things to our loved ones. Be very careful, because that will perpetuate this sort of snowball of anger that's going to run down the hill and get out of proportion. So first and foremost, to think about trying to control our words, trying to control what we say. Realize tensions are high. If someone's taking a shot at us, they're just upset. You know, pray for them, feel bad for them, but don't return fire. Don't attack them again. And also, one of the main ways that we do avoid this temptation and this sit of anger is to have a sense of peace within us. And if we're not praying, then we're not going to be building up that sense of peace within us. When we do say our prayers regularly and we find ourselves in conversations with Christ praying, we realize that we're sort of making that fuse longer and longer and longer. And so it will be easier for us to avoid blowing up when the time comes. We're sort of storing up a reserve of calm and peace so that when things get difficult, we're able to weather the storm and not completely lose it and explode on the people that we love the most. So I know just some things to think about for today. People are upset, people are frustrated, people are angry and having a difficult time with being forced to stay at home now a longer period of time. Try as best as you can to watch your words, to watch what you say, to make sure you're not attacking, to recognize if someone is attacking that, you know, again, they're struggling and we love them and we want to support them. Try as best as you can to say some sort of prayers throughout the day to help us as we're struggling with this frustration and eventual anger that we're feeling over these very difficult and trying circumstances. Once again, may our risen Lord and Savior bless us and keep us. Stay in every day. Christos Anesti, Christ is risen.